guys, so today's video is going to be a bit different. It's going to be a bit more of a talking video, and I thought to myself, that's why I keep playing with my hair because it's like been freshly washed. It's like but yeah, sorry, I was basically thinking that I'm like at that point in my life, like I've done school, I've done university, I've got married, buying a house, like I'm doing all those things, and I get, you know, a lot of people ask me, oh Patricia, how did you get here, blah blah blah, and I was like, do you know what, I would love to run through like the early years, or just life really, like growing up basically as a girl in London, like just that growing up. And I hope it's something that you guys can relate to, like, and I'd love to hear your kind of growing up stories. So let me know, number one, if you think it's a good idea and if you would want me to carry on with doing this, and number two, like, I don't know if I should do it like, you know, first school, first boyfriend, first date, or first something or the other, university, all those kind of things, or whether or not it should be like, you know, school, university, first job. I don't know, think of it, you guys tell me, because I'm not really sure what's the best way to approach this, kind of just giving the whole kind of story. And I know that some of you are like, you know, 13, 14, you know, just in secondary school now, and some of you are like same age as me or even older than me, and you've done all the things that I've done, and you can kind of look back nostalgically at your school years like I am, and just kind of enjoy. And that some of you who want to know how I worked out to the next steps in life, then hopefully this should be good enough for you. But good to watch. Also, I've done a live broadcast with Michael on this before, so I'll put all the links below, but you can find me on my Facebook, my Twitter, and my Conduit as well, where I do live vlogs where you can ask me questions and talk to me like live. So let's get started. So I think I'm gonna just address like secondary school, or just kind of growing up and then secondary school. So to be honest, right, I grew up in a very, like, not a very sheltered home, but a fairly sheltered home, and I didn't go out. Like, I didn't really go out. I went to school and I went home. I did go to play centre for like an hour or two after school, and that was it. It was home time. You know, there were some kids like, Mom, I'm going out. No, there was no mum, I'm going out anyway. My mum would just side me and say, look, sit down and read your book. Like, there was no going out or anything. Literally up until 16, 17, I really didn't go out. And some people think it's like a bad thing, but I really appreciate being raised the way I was. My mum knew where I was. I was at school, I was at home, reading my book. So yeah, that's kind of how I grew up. So I was fairly sheltered. I did have my sister, and we had our own little world of fantasy. And that's probably why we're so close, because there was no playing out for us. We never had friends like on our street or on our road or in our area. But we did a bit later on. I'll tell you about that maybe in another video. And then like friends at school and our cousins. So that was kind of our main exposure, and church. So that was our main exposure to people outside, really. So you can kind of tell what we were like. I was quite, I was gonna lie, I wasn't quite reserved. So the thing is, at school I was always a very loud person, like just funny, like loud. I used to always talk a lot, like as you could tell I talk a lot, and the report that I always got was Patricia talks too much, she talks too much, she talks too much, or she's disruptive, because maybe I'll be talking or doing some form of entertainment in the classroom when really I should be being quiet and not disturbing the whole class. So I started off in one secondary school, and it was a really bad secondary school, to be honest. And then my mum moved me out into another secondary school, and I ended up joining with my sister, the same secondary school as my sister. Now the thing is, it's really weird when you join in like the year after. You didn't join when everyone else joined and you get into schools. I actually knew someone there, which was kind of a friend of the family, I would say my cousin, and she was kind of part of the bad crowd. So I kind of ended up in that kind of group. And you know, everyone was really, really nice and everything. Obviously they're going to be nice to their friends, but you know, probably not as focused on like, let's do well. If anything, they were focused on, let's be really, really bad, let's bunk class, let's be really rude and really, really disruptive. But I wasn't like that. Like, I wasn't naturally like that. And the thing is that if my mum caught me, I could just wait to get home and find some tea ready for me. So I would be like, I was like kind of like almost like, at school I was a bit like attitudey, and then at home I was like, yes mommy, yes mommy. And then, but after a while I was just like, this is ridiculous. Like, I don't want to be like, not in a horrible way, these people. And you know, a lot of my friends got expelled from school. They like, a lot of them did not make it to at the age of 16. They didn't make it to their GCSEs. They did not make it. And I was looking at these people dropping off like flies, and I was like, hey, I do not want this for my life. So I just did some reevaluation, and maybe this was when I was about 14, 15. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna live like this. And I just said, do you know what, if I seem a bit weird or seem a bit awkward, then I don't care. Like, if I'm a nerd, I'm a nerd, I don't care, I'm smart. Because they didn't know like what my academic capability was, they put me in all the lower classes, because they just kind of dump you in the lower classes, as I'd come from a previous school. And literally within like a few months, I basically, on all of my subjects, I moved to the top set or the second to the top set. And that was just sheer determination and natural ability to get up to those groups. I wasn't that good in maths, I was in the third set in maths, but everything else was group 1 or group 2 for schools. So I did talk to those girls and everything, but after a while I just kind of started hanging around with a different group. I would hang around with the Asian girls, like my friend was Fatima, and like I didn't care. I was just like, I don't care if it looks weird, like why is a black girl hanging around with Asian girls, or like the hippie group or whatever. I didn't care. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be a waste girl. And sometimes you just got to be different, and people actually appreciate you. Like, they know that you're kind of weird or you're kind of different. Yeah, that's just Patricia. Now, I ended up getting kind of bullied, if you want to call it. I couldn't really be bullied, because the way I am now is the way I was. I was just mouthy, and like, you couldn't intimidate me. I was very, very skinny, very, very scrawny, but for some reason I was just extremely confident. You can't make me feel small, there's no way. That got me into like problems. So there were girls in the year above who didn't like me, and they didn't like me because I'd been friends with the other girls that I'd been friends with. And I remember like every time they'd be like, we're gonna get you when we finish, after we finish our GCSEs, we're gonna get you. And every time they saw me, they tormented me. But me, I'd be like, whatever, I don't care. If you're gonna do something, I don't care. And I had that attitude, but inside I was scared. I was scared. These girls are going to beat me up. I was really, really, really scared, but they would have never known I was scared, because I'll still argue with you. I'll still act like I don't care. Like, don't get rude to me. And I was like, but I remember saying, what's your problem with me? And they'll be like, oh, your friends. Or, and I'm like, so like, what is your issue? And I remember one time after school, one of the girls on the way home, attacked me. And so yeah, these people really wanted to get me, and she attacked me I was getting off on the bus, and she like pulled me. She was pulling me off because she really wanted to fight me, but somehow my sister saved me, and like I stayed on the bus, and the door got closed, and the bus went, and she never attacked me. And I remember on their last day of school, I had a lot of friends who were like Muslims, and they wore hijabs and everything. I took one of my friends' hijab, put it on, and I was like, these girls will not recognize me. And that, I was really, really scared. But again, I never wanted anyone to know that I was scared. But obviously, you know, that D-Day came, and I thought, you know, I might get pummeled. And I didn't, and I never saw them again. And you know, I'm here today to tell you the tale. In general, like, secondary school was one of those things where you don't really know who you are, and sometimes you're like following people, but really you just have to be yourself. And if you're awkward, which is what I was, then be awkward. People will appreciate you for being awkward. And if you're friendly, and if you don't want to fit into the stereotype, like people said, you have to be like that, you can't talk to these people, oh no, we don't do that. Forget that. That is all like lies. And that's what I realized. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna be a rebel. I'm gonna talk to who I want to talk to. I'm gonna hang around with who I want to hang around with. And that was like my secondary school experience. So I could actually then do my next, well, I won't do it now, but should I talk about college and like my experience with like the first, I will do that. Okay, fine. The first guy who I like liked and ruined my A-levels. But yeah, and for those of you who wanted to know what I got like at GCSEs, I had like 2 A's, 6 B's and like 2 C's. And yeah, I did try again, but I wasn't the best. But I did make prefect, like after prefect rounds had gone, because I was still in that stage of being a little bit rebellious, and the teachers weren't too sure about me. But then afterwards I did this thing where I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna show all the teachers who don't think that I'm serious how serious I am. And got to the point that like by the end of the year I was a prefect, and I was awarded like, you know, most transformed student, because I've just made that decision. I don't want to be waste. And ended up alright. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. Find all my links below, my Twitter, my Facebook, my Conduit, any questions you have. Like, I want to hear your secondary school stories, how you found it. And you know, any advice that you need or anything else you want to ask me, I will answer. So I'll see you guys soon. Bye.